We've only been doing this for 4 years.
No, you haven't.
Actually, he's been doing it for 20. Welcome. Welcome to AHA, A Human Among Humans on Cambridge Community Access Television. This is your host, the man who just hit record. I couldn't find it. I was looking for
No,
it.
you have to open something.
Oh, you have to open something.
Yeah, I didn't tell you. And you might have been blaming you, and it was me.
It was you.
Yes, totally.
It was you. Well, thank you for admitting your failures.
Do you feel like you sometimes have assignments in life and they didn't give you the right instructions?
Oh, yeah, instructions for a different class.
Yes.
Are we okay having the mic right there? As long as we know that the mic's right there, I guess we're okay.
Between us.
Is that a segue into something? A segue into your topic today, maybe?
The topic is, well, if I do this well, I can feel what Augustine said, that God is ever changing.
St. Augustine.
St. Augustine, ever changing and ever the same. I can feel it. I can feel it with Colombia, even from afar, I hope. Feel that loving beauty. And I can first feel it from me, and then feel it between me, and then I can feel it coming from her, even from afar.
How important is it to feel it?
Wow, this is a hard question. It seems I was healed seeing my therapist.
You were healed seeing your therapist?
Last Friday.
Really healed? And so your therapist said you're healed now, you can go, never come back?
No.
Okay.
But
You'll have to tell me the story. I don't know what you're talking about.
Very brief, it's very brief.
Okay.
I was telling her my struggles.
Mm-hmm.
You feeling,
Talking about your life.
yes, feeling,
The daily struggles, the lifelong struggles.
Death and rebirth and all. You're familiar with that.
The daily reincarnation.
And I could feel talking to her heart and mind communing. Because it's very easy to not see my therapist as fully human, because she's there.
So sort of godlike. She's sort of divine.
She's there to listen to me and help me with no needs, right? None at all. The ideal woman.
Have you heard about the Woebot?
Oh, similar?
The Woebot, W-O-E-B-O-T, the Woebot. You can go online and find it. The Woebot is programmed to be an excellent listener, an excellent questioner.
Yep.
And so you go to the Woebot with your problems, and you'll be cured.
Yes, well, this is what. But this is the difference, though. See, she's been great for 11 years.
Yeah.
Her name is Dr. Deborah Block.
Uh-huh. I've heard of her, maybe through you.
Yep. She's into it. And for the first time, alas, I could feel our hearts communing, that she was a human being too, not just a robot. She wasn't there just to help me. There was a reality. She was just, I'm not sure.
It was just her job, but at the same time, it was also she was facilitating your healing because she was a human being who was there to help you.
And she had a heart.
Yeah.
I've taken me.
Well, you take that you can assume that.
Yes, but this time I felt it.
Yeah.
For the first time. And it felt like somehow the heart to heart and my problems, the heart to heart communion, I think made me, I'm not sure, I just want to say it honestly, for a change.
Tell the truth.
Yes.
For once.
Yes, I said for a change. Oh, for once is even harsher, right? Somehow the heart to heart, even though I was presenting very great challenges, feeling suicidal, angry, rage, and so on, I could even feel a blade knocking my wrists off if I wasn't.
Michael, what the heck are you talking about?
These are things I was feeling.
Okay, you were feeling these things.
And then because
in the therapist's office.
Yes, I'm sorry. And then in the heart to heart, I felt that those violent feelings stopped,
Mm-hmm.
as if someone heard me, and I could then experience in them more as, oh, it's time for rebirth. There's something I need to be transformed without the violence.
Well, that sounds positive.
Yeah,
You don't need the violence.
right. So I'm losing my train of thought now. Oh, you were saying.
Well, I'm
oh, no, I
appreciating
remember.
your honesty.
I remember you said.
You are telling the
you
truth
said-
after all.
You said, why is that important?
Well, I was asking if feeling is
A
important.
feeling that heart. Can I feel?
Well, sure. Feeling is important.
Now, and it's interesting. Knowing me, I could talk about it and not feel it between us.
I guess.
Knowing me, I can do that often.
Yeah.
But now that I mention it, I can feel us communing heart to heart.
And what if you're the only one who's feeling that?
And you're not.
Right.
I can invite you to feel it.
I don't know how much, personally, I'm not sure how much it matters what I feel. Now there was one, I don't know what you would call him, channeler, prophet, and I can't even remember the name of the book that he wrote, but he wrote a book in which he says that he's having a conversation with God, and he's just asking God all of these questions, and God is answering in human language rather than Wobot language. And the only thing that I remember from the entire book is that God communicates in feelings.
Wow.
So I recognize, I honor the importance and value of feelings. However, I can't depend on them. I can't depend on the feelings to be what they are. I can only depend on the feelings to be what they are, not what I want them to be. If I'm feeling crappy, I might wish that I was feeling better, and I might do things that might make me feel better, but I can't depend on the feelings. The only thing that that raises the question, what can I depend on? But that's my whole point, is I can't depend on the feelings. Can't depend on the feelings to be there. But I can be receptive. I can be open to the possibility of the feelings arriving, and I guess that's grace. Good feelings arising, helpful feelings, feelings of wholeness or healing or happiness or what have you.
Happiness or what have you.
Happiness or what have you. I think that's a great title for something. Happiness or what have you.
I'm very sad about that. Very depressed. Very jaded. No offense.
Happiness or whatever.
Love or whatever. You should try this. I love you or whatever. Whoa. I'm gonna try it.
I think that speaks. That's the 21st century in a nutshell.
Yes, I might try
Happiness or whatever.
I'll try it with Michelle. I love you or whatever. Wow. Something very.
It's the whatever century.
Yes.
We've arrived.
Wow. So, I still have the question.
What's so where? I need to go back to what are we trying to do here in this show?
Okay, the question is, I can experience the beauty and the love in me and between me and other people at times.
Yeah, great.
And it feels as I feel when you pray. I feel this presence. It's not, you invoke this presence, which what prayer does.
Prayer, does it invoke it or invite it? Prayer invites something. That's what makes sense to me. But regardless.
Either one, both. Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes one.
Okay, both.
And this experience of beauty and love feels here.
Yeah.
It's just here. I understand why people say God is unchanging. It's just eternal love and beauty and other things.
But, but I'm balking at that. Because your experience, because you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you have this experience of this, you know, beauty, this love, all of these good things, I can't help but believe that sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, sometimes it goes away completely, sometimes it's powerful.
Yes, and sometimes it can be too much, too
Yeah,
little.
yeah.
Has to be danced with.
Right.
And I think it's a
So that is changing.
Yeah, yes, and I think it's a spiritual well, it's a funny change because sometimes, as you might experience with grace, you might have to move with it in a certain way, but it does feel like it's just there. No?
I'm having a hard time getting you. Having a hard time.
Thank you. So, well, when you pray, and you pray to the creative mystery.
Okay. Would you like my language for it?
Yes, I love it.
Okay. So when I pray, you know that expression. I think it's both in Matthew and Mark, the two Gospels. Jesus saying, when you pray, don't be like the Pharisees.
Yeah.
Go to your room, close the door, pray to your Father in secret. So that's what Jesus says. And so for me, what prayer is, it's about going somewhere where I can't possibly be performing. And so I have to begin in two ways. I have to begin first with an absolute commitment to telling the truth. To telling the truth. Nothing less than the truth will do. To telling the truth to God, whatever God is. God, the presence.
God or whatever.
God or whatever. That might be the title of this show. Who knows?
Oh, Lord. Forgive us, we don't know what we know.
Oh, we really don't. And that is the secret of prayer. We don't know what we're doing. Because I think that is essential. There are two things for me that are essential to prayer. One is telling the absolute truth. That when I express myself to God, I'm not screwing around. I'm not doing anything but revealing myself completely. But the other thing is, I have to be as ignorant, as stupid as I can possibly be, not knowing what's going on. I have to be empty. I have to be unknowing. You know, there was that ancient, that old mystical text from the Catholic tradition, 12th, 13th century maybe, the cloud of unknowing. At a certain point in prayer, we have to leave behind everything that we think we know.
Wow.
Leave it all behind and be completely present right here, right now, with this. With this with a capital T.
And you're almost praying, or maybe are praying now.
I was until you pointed it out, and I snapped back
Oh,
like a
it's
rubber
my
band.
fault. I've sinned there grievously. So, I'm going to tell a brief story.
Sure. And can you connect it to what is our goal again for this show?
Our goal is to understand why, we could put it theoretically,
Yeah.
why Augustine says God is ever changing and ever the same.
Okay.
Or,
Well, I have an answer, but first your
no,
story.
I'm happy to hear your answer.
Well, the answer isn't an answer per se, but whenever we speak of, I don't even have the words for it, you know, God, the ultimate reality, whenever we speak of our true nature, we can only speak in riddles. And so to say that God is ever changing sort of like puts this form in, okay, God is this. But to say that God is this is to miss God, because God is bigger than that.
Wow.
So God has to be both ever-changing and ever the same.
And more, as you're saying.
And more.
Wow.
And more. God is bigger than anything that we can talk about.
Well, this is my story.
Tell me your story.
It's a brief one.
All right.
I might have said it to you once, but
I'm patient. I'll listen again. I've probably forgotten it anyway.
Yes, yes, this very important story. I'm sitting alone, as you would say, as you did say, in my rooming house. We had a bathroom in the
What's
hall.
your age? What year is
I'm
this?
in my mid-40s.
And you're here in Cambridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a toilet in the hall.
Mhm.
It costs $135 a month for two little,
Hey, those were the days.
little rooms.
Rent control.
Yes, little rooms about, which this whole studio would be the
Yeah,
apartment.
yeah.
And I'm feeling so blessed. It's peaceful. I got a refrigerator. I got a stove. The whole bathroom isn't used very much except by me and maybe one or two other people.
Hmm.
And I'm thanking God. And then I realize it's my landlady, Laura, who has made all of this possible.
Hmm.
She cleans the toilets. She makes the building work so we can. And it seemed I was giving to what I was calling God the gratitude that I owed to her.
Yes, you have told me that story before. It's a great story. And I think that's an important and powerful realization. I still think, though, that she is you could think of her as being an expression of God when it comes to landladying. That she makes all of this possible. And so,
And she probably believes in God herself since of that generation.
good to be grateful to her, good to be grateful to God. It's not
Both.
either or. Yes. Right, both.
So I think if I can feel, not can, boy, thank you for being a truth teller. Since I feel some loving beauty with you, how could anyone not? And I need to connect back to you and not just spiritually bypass into that. Because you are your hands, your hair, the look in your eyes,
And this history that we have
and the history
together.
we have in your history.
Yeah.
And in some ways I don't understand. When I'm really together, I can feel the beauty and love in you and freedom in you. You've worked hard to be Michael Mack.
Well, here's where I have to ask you a question, though, because you're some would say that you're projecting onto me that this friendship, this love that we share. You're feeling it.
Yeah.
You're sort of assuming that I'm feeling it too.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
So thank you for. No, I don't want to assume that.
Okay.
But there's a possibility for me to get beyond my feelings and to begin to be open to what you're feeling now.
That would be huge. And that's empathy, right? Empathy, sympathy, to be able to feel what somebody else is feeling.
Or unfortunately, let me put a step before that. I think I could feel the beautiful love that you, regardless of what you're feeling, as a parent would to a child.
Well, I'm not clear what you're saying then. So
there's two things. I mean,
yeah,
for your young, I don't know how you felt toward your younger brothers and sisters. I think I could certainly, a parent to a child, I can feel how lovable you are. The child might not feel that back.
right.
And it's in the child. It's there. The child might also be a pain and temper tantrums and other things, but perhaps to remember and experience how precious and loving and beautiful this child is, even when you have to discipline it.
Well, that's good mothering or good parenting.
And couldn't we do that with friendship too?
Yes, it's sure. I think it's challenging to do that in the moment. You know,
if I say one of the many things
if you say something that upsets me,
yes,
it's harder for me to feel that loving friendship.
yes, or interrupt too much.
Yeah,
I'm learning not to.
Keep going.
Yes.
Keep going. Test me.
Yes. Or I remember our last show. I watched it.
Yeah.
we have a new rule. I love our new rule.
Mhm.
It's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, if a show I want to put up that you don't want to put up, or you,
As you may know,
yes,
Michael is much more inclined, I think you'll agree with this,
Yes.
much more inclined to want to post most of what we do.
yes.
I'm really reluctant to post on YouTube and to make it like universal, make it.
But people, we should say
forever.
when you say this, you can see some of our old shows
Yeah, you can.
on Michael Koran YouTube.
You can.
Yep. But keep going. I interrupted you. Michael.
You interrupted me and I lost my train of thought, so I don't know what I was talking about.
You were saying that you were reminding the audience you don't want to post usually, and I do.
Right, right. Well, we were going back to talk about our previous show.
Yes, our previous show.
And I really didn't want to post it because it was I didn't think it was a good show, and it was also kind of upsetting to me personally, and I didn't want to post it. And so Michael decided to have a look at it on his own and see if what he remembered as being, this really very postable show
Yes.
was postable, in fact. And what did you discover?
I discovered. Well, first of all, I offered that to you.
You did.
I said, from now on,
He did.
if we disagree, just as a gift offering to you.
Because we did agree. We have this agreement in writing.
I have it in writing. Yes.
We both have it in writing. And this is how we navigated a difficult point
Yes.
in our personal and professional relationship.
Yes, a very difficult one. We would.
By writing down an
We
agreement.
might have been leaving each other.
And
Not sharing us with Colombia.
And so we came up with this agreement. And the agreement basically is that if one of us wants to post and the other doesn't want to post, then we have to come in a half an hour early the next time we do a show together and look at it
Yep.
and see if on reflection, seeing it not the way we remember it, but seeing it in fact, whether it's good.
There's one more PS to that. I don't know if you
Sure.
remember.
Sure.
That if one of us does not want to post it, he needs to come up with a compelling reason why
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
We still might not agree, but at
Right,
least
right.
Well, we've added something new now. That
This is probably more than
then
you
they
really.
want to know, and we're running out of time, and we don't know. But maybe this is part of it. Part of feeling a loving connection between us is working these things out.
Well, of course.
And it's hard when we're on different sides to still feel that loving connection.
It's hard when I push your buttons or you push mine.
Yes. Or sometimes we just have our own shadow buttons, regardless of
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
So that's something to think about in relationship to maybe that what Marshall Rosenberg,
who wrote Nonviolent Communication.
he said the beloved divine energy is there,
Yeah.
but often
So he is echoing then what Augustine was saying when Augustine said,
God is ever changing and ever the same.
God is ever the same in that God is there.
That beloved divine
God is here.
energy is like the sun or the galaxy. It's there, and can we use our language and actions to grow with it and be with it?
Well, I have to say that's one way to think about it. To say that it, and in fact, this is a traditional Christian doctrine that God is eternal, unchanging. That goes back a long ways. But I think that the truer way to express that, as I think we've already touched on, is that God is ever changing and ever new.
Yeah.
God is ever changing and ever present.
Embodying in our world.
Yeah.
That's the heart of Christianity. That
Yes, God is here now.
God is embodying in the creation. We all can have Christ consciousness.
And I think it's even bigger than that. I mean,
Indeed.
what doctrine is? Doctrine says that the Christ is within you, the Christ is within me, and
Yeah.
that we all become part of the body of Christ.
Yes.
but I think it's even more than human beings. I think that as more so-called primitive people think, that everything has a soul, everything has a
Rocks,
spirit. Rocks, grass,
yes,
otters,
yes. Otters,
birds.
did you say otters?
Otters.
Have you ever met an otter?
Not in person.
Yeah, but you brought it up somehow.
So that's kind of animistic. That's animism right there. Is that everything has a soul or a spirit? But I think it's true. That's what makes sense.
No, I love it too, and we do well to keep that connection as best we can as we are, which is challenging, recreating our days and our lives and our world.
The tricky part is being aware of that consciousness in all things and in ourselves, and holding it together so that we can cross the street and
Have a television show, say
Yeah.
hello to each other.
staying sane at the same time that we recognize the ever-flowing, ever-new, ever-changing, ever-presentness of everything.
And it's changing as well as the same, as Augustine said, right?
Right. 15 seconds. Wrap it up. We might pick it up for the next show.
Thank you.
If you're riveted.
Yes.
If you're riveted, we'll come back with more of this.
I love it as it is, actually.
Okay. God bless.
Well, God bless you. Bye.